Hey, Kristen. Here we have a good series. I wanted to challenge you to think about how these first two images could get edited for more drama. And I right-clicked and copied the image, and I put it into Photoshop, and let me show you the same image converted to grayscale and using levels to brighten it up a bit. Actually, on my last go round here, deselect. Um, right, so how did we do this? And we went from this to that. And notice how the sky is a lot more interesting. The clouds are coming out more. There's this interesting line of clouds down on the horizon. There's light gathered on the water here, and the foreground is darkened a bit so that it brings our eye out here. First thing is I copied and pasted into Photoshop, and then I converted it to grayscale. So let me take you through this. So image, mode, grayscale, discard. And then what I did was I took the square marquee tool and clicked and dragged right up to the edge of the horizon here, like that. And then click select and mask and feather it back. Maybe 20 pixels. Let's see how that goes this time. And I'm going to hide the selection with a Control H, Control L for levels, and notice how low the contrast is in the sky. We've got this histogram right here in the center peaking, so I'm going to bring up my highlight, bring up my shadow, my dark tones right up to the edge of the mountain here. And here's the before and the after. Pretty dramatic, huh? Seeing a bit of noise in there, so I'm going to go filter, noise, reduce noise, and I'll go for the max on that. And okay, so deselect, and next I'm going to take the lasso tool and darken the foreground. So here we go, lasso. Select around here, select and mask, and feather it back again. Here's about 50 pixels. And when I'm darkening tones like this and I don't want to raise the contrast, I use image adjustment brightness contrast and bring that down, kind of like that. Already you see how it's improving. Now what if we were to bring a little bit of light, as if this cloud were being reflected in the water here? So I'm going to take this lasso again, or I could use the circle marquee. And go back to levels, and again see how low contrast the water is here. So I'm going to bring in my highlight again, up closer, not too far, about like that, and bring in my shadow, and let me create a Control H to hide this. Maybe the fall off on that is too much, so I'm going to cancel that and reselect this using the elliptical marquee, which is hiding under the square marquee. Go to the center, hold down Alt, and pull this out a little wider like that. Select and mask, feather it out, and hide it, Control H and Control L, and then here we go. You just eyeball it to when it looks good for you. Something like that, and Control D. Once again, looking at the history, when I pasted it, it looked like this, and after the edits, it looks like that. Okay, so we keep asking the same question: where's the focal point? Here, what takes away from the focal point? Well, in this case, not much, but there's no really there here. There's no real focal point, and there's not a lot of visual interest because it's kind of broad daylight, midday, and it's very kind of broad, flat light. So in all this of trying to bring in the light and develop a little visual interest, it actually is kind of realizing your own vision about being at the beach a little bit more. So let's look along here. Okay, here's some detail. Again, I might edit this for a little more drama. I would darken the outer edges, maybe heighten the green a little bit. Right, so same thing. Where's the focal point? It's probably in here. But the outside edge doesn't add a whole lot to it. Ditto here. This line is interesting, this line and the horizon line, but the tones are also bland. Let's look at the levels. Oops, I can't look at the levels without copying this. So, right, how can we make this more interesting visually? Okay, I like that you're getting into detail. That one may be my favorite, and the reason is because the light, it's all about the light, is working so beautifully here. I like this little line of water and where it had just wet as the tide is coming in, and the beautiful texture of this contrasted to this, and especially the way the light is breaking over all the indents here. This little blue hose is probably detracting, and I might want to crop that out or clone it. Here's another lesson. Let's clone it. So copy image and Photoshop and Control N for file new. Create. Control V to paste it. Control E to flatten it down. And over on the left is the rubber stamp tool. And I'm bringing it over and adjusting the brush size upper left here, keeping the hardness at 0, size down, something like that. Now when I hold down the Alt key, the brush circle changes into a target. So I click to sample the pixels and then bring this down and start painting with the brush, and you see what happens? That just goes away. I did that pretty quickly, so one thing you have to watch out for is duplication of a texture like that, and I also lost part of the rock, so I'm going to rebuild the rock by doing that and that, and I'm going to break up this texture a little bit by just clicking around a little bit with a new bit of sand texture like that, to break up these lines a little bit. But now I copied that twice, so here I'll go get it from here, put that in there. This little spot here, maybe we could clean that up too, like that. And good, yeah, I like this one. All right, what's most interesting about this picture is right in here, all the light on the gangplank, or whatever you want to call this, dock entrance ramp here, and the way the sunlight is breaking across this through the railing. Okay, this is also good for this week's assignment coming up with light and shadow. What takes our eye away? Well, this really bright sky. So let's take a look at that too. Right click, copy image, Control N for file new, create, Control V, Control E, crop tool. Let's take a look at that. This is so bright I can't darken it, so I'm just going to crop it, and I'm going to take it down into here and take this in and take this in right to the edge of the take this in. Right, so this is starting to improve here. And take your lasso out and develop the light in here a little bit more. Feather it. Control H to hide it, Control L for levels, and just bringing in a little presence. Raise the contrast a little bit. And here's the before, Control Z, and after. Okay, so when you're shooting, think about these things. Are you including too much in the picture? You know, we're not really that interested in far away stuff. I'm trying to get you to look at things more closely in close. So fairly low contrast through here again. Sky is a problem. What's most interesting is right here where the deck meets the water and these reflections and these edges of the boat, so you could frame a nice shot right in here. That would work out. Okay, so I like the reflection of light on the water here. That works out pretty well. Again, this is a lot of empty space out here. What's most interesting is the wall. And again, far away, we don't really care about distant scenes so much. And for that reason, I do like this one. This belongs with week 1, more about the constructed, built environment and composition. But here we're moving in, we're filling the frame, everything counts, the light is good. So, good. See you on the blog.